safety training for all of our residential students. My name is Hallie Weekland, the co-director of First Year Experience, and I'm co-hosting this webinar with my wonderful colleague, Heidi LeCount, who's the director of Residence Life. So I'm going to turn it over to Heidi.
Thank you, Holly. And as we've worked from home this summer, we've heard her children often, which is kind of fun to have a different level of interaction with our coworkers. So anyway, yes, welcome this afternoon. Safety is very important to me and to the campus safety, or the safety of the campus. I do see that about a third of the people who should be watching are on. So I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds. If you'll holler down the hall or text your friend real quick. I really would like to see a few more people on this, just because safety is really important when living in a community. And as Holly said, I will do questions and answers at the end. There are times that students have very personal questions related to living on campus or safety on campus. And for that, I would prefer that we connect individually. I'm happy to help however I can. But there are times that students would prefer to reach out to me one-on-one, which is perfectly fine. So I don't want you to feel like you have to kind of share your personal business if in this public space. So, and I did change my name there so that, yes. So I was just going to say, thank you, Holly, that I did put my email address on with my name on the Zoom, on my little square. That's me. I know you've gotten so many emails from Res Life this summer, but that's actually me. So now I'm glad that we're able to connect through having you on campus. I did get to meet or see a lot of you over the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it was so great to put some names and faces together. So actually, Holly, I'm going to use my Res Life email address. So I put it on my square. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and get started. I do want to respect those of you who are here on time, and I really appreciate it. I did kind of look at the participants list, and of course I've memorized names all summer with the room assignment, so it's good to see names popping up and whatnot. So we're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen. This is the PowerPoint that I do obviously when we're in person. There are a couple pieces there are 2 videos in here that I am not going to share today. I will talk about them a bit when I get to them, but they are very sensitive and they can be very emotional. And I don't feel comfortable sharing them today when I'm not in the same room with you. But I will at least explain a little bit about them. So we're just going to get going. So health and safety on campus. As I've mentioned, safety is very important to me. You moved in and your parents want you to be safe on campus as much as I do, as well as other campus administrators. So the Meredith College community cares about your safety. We do want you to know your campus resources. You have a resident assistant. I know many of you have already had your floor meetings or you've had some Zoom time with them. You may have seen them in the hallway, which is great. And we hope that as things go through the semester that the RAs will be engaging with you in small groups over the course of the semester. There are resident assistants on duty each evening, and they will walk through the residence halls. Please stop them if you have a question. We are all here to help you succeed, to answer your questions. You know, a lot of times students will stop me on the sidewalk, they'll stop me in the dining hall and ask a question. And I am fine with that, and I'm happy that you want to approach me and ask a question. Honestly, it doesn't have to relate to Residence Life. If you want to ask me anything, you have my email address. We're spending this time together. I'm happy to point you in the right direction as well. So make sure you're connecting with a variety of people on campus. So, and along with the resident assistants, we also have a critical response team. And though the full-time staff, they share a duty rotation. The number is there. It is also available in the Residence Life Guide to Community Living. This number is to be used for critical needs, and that information is going to be posted up in the residence halls. mostly if you have a flood, a fire, a medical emergency. This number is not meant for a general question that you can ask the student, your student advisor, your resident assistant, or what have you. So it is called the critical response team for that reason. It is for responding to critical situations. It can be if you have a person, if you're having a huge conflict with your roommate in the middle of the evening, that might be someone that you would like to call. So if you have a question or concern or situation, so they'll respond to students in need, and they are on duty 24 hours a day. But we do hope that, calling them is reserved for the critical needs. All right, then living in a community, y'all have just moved in. There's, around 100 or so students in a residence hall. That's much different than living in your family dwelling, where there might be 4 or 5 people, or, however your extended family is. But everything you do now in a residence hall will impact others. And the 2 big things right now, I've always talked about fire safety, but now I'm also going to talk a little bit about health safety and obviously COVID. I know we've heard a lot about it, but I do feel it's very important to include in this presentation and in at least an abbreviated way. And so each person is responsible for the safety of the residence halls. That includes me. If I'm walking through a residence hall and I see a door propped open, it's my responsibility to close it. If I see something that's not, a light that's not working, it's my responsibility to report that to facilities. And so the success of the community is every member taking responsibility. So I do want to kind of impress upon you that kind of notion. And then residents and residents' life are partners, especially in fire safety measures. All right, I do want to include this. I will be actually sending this out to all residents probably on Monday. There has been some confusion or need to clarify some information about face coverings. And so here's what the Dean of Students and Assistant Dean of Students have put together along with Dr. Johnson in the Health Center. Again, I'll be sending this out probably on Monday, but really just know when you're exiting your personal room, you should have a face covering on. And I know that, if you're walking on the greenway and by yourself or your social distance, at times you may not have it on, but when just kind of think of, if I'm leaving my residence hall room, I need to have my face covering on. And then you can read through the rest of this on, as I send it out on Monday. And health and safety inspections, I'm not quite sure, I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite sure how we're gonna do this semester or over a little longer than we typically would, only because of obviously not wanting to be around a lot of people at one time. But whenever they do happen, that there are health and safety inspections. They're conducted once in the fall and once in the spring. It is a visual inspection of all resident rooms. We are not opening closets. We're not opening drawers. We're not opening refrigerators. It is really just kind of a scan of the room to make sure that there are no fire hazards. You do not have to be present in your room for it to be inspected. And when it's done, when your room has been inspected, if there's no violations, you get a slip that says you've passed. If there are violations, you will have a notification of fine left. So, but until that happens, we want to make sure like what is not permitted in the residence halls. And I know students, y'all might be like, this is so restrictive, but I really just want you to understand that again, it's a collective effort for us to all keep each other safe. And it's not one person's responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility. So some of the things that we look for during health and safety inspections are non-surge protected electrical cords. And I know there's been so many new products out there as far as, extenders and different things. What we're looking for is something that has an on-off switch. So if your electrical extension has an on-off switch, we do allow it. Your residence director might ask for you, if it's kind of behind last year we had some that were kind of like behind a lamp, the residence director might ask you to show her the on-off switch to just ensure that it's something we allow. We also don't allow excessive trash. You have to keep your room clean, and that's even more important this year. I know I saw a lot of you over the last week go into the dining hall, which is great, but I also saw a lot of to-go and containers and food, which is, you know, obviously being provided for your safety, but it's going to result in more food trash and food, you know, stuff that needs to be thrown away. So I would say make a plan with your roommate and suite mates to take the trash out at least every other day, if not almost every day. And any trash from your room does go to the outside dumpsters. It does not go to the parlor trash can. It does not go to a kitchen trash can. It doesn't go to a laundry trash can. It does go outside to your dumpsters. If you don't know where your dumpster is, please ask your resident assistant and she will point you in the right direction. The other obvious issue with excessive trash is it does bring bugs, and we don't like bugs. We don't like ants and things in the rooms. While if it does happen, we will certainly address the situation. But if there is a way for us to kind of mitigate that risk, we are working toward that. Items hanging from the ceiling, that is considered a fire hazard, including hanging things from any sprinkler pipe or sprinkler head. Just no. A sprinkler head that is compromised, it's not just water in the pipe, it's actually water and oil. And as someone who has seen a sprinkler head be released, it's not pretty. It takes a lot of cleaning. It takes a lot of stuff to fix that situation. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, y'all. But anyway, no items hanging from the ceiling, no cords under rugs. As you're walking on a cord, it can rub off the coating and it can then expose wires. Candles, we do not allow candles. We've made that very clear. Candles, any candles that are found, it's a $50 fine per candle. So if you have 2 candles, it's a $100 fine. That's how, you know, we really take candles as something that we really need to deter you from using and having on campus. Students will ask me all the time, but it's decorative. It's no wick. I don't, you know, it was a present. And we really just maintain no candles on campus. There are so many ways now that you can have kind of a room freshener. There's plenty of products out there that having a candle is not the only way to have kind of a fragrance in your room. And then we also look for prohibited items such as cooking appliances, chart warmers, electric holiday, and string lights. We do allow battery operated lights. If it has a battery pack, it's allowed. If it has a plug, it is not. There is also, I do want to talk about the chart warmer for a second. The chart warmer actually goes under health and safety and not fire safety, because the melted wax can burn you and it can also damage items in the residence halls. We've seen it enough about 5 or 6 years ago that we decided that no chart warmers, regardless of whether it's a plug-in appliance or obviously we wouldn't allow one with a candle, but anything that warms wax is not permitted. All right. And yes, keep it clean. I've talked about this a little bit. The residents are responsible for cleaning their own rooms and bathrooms. Perishable trash is to be put into trash bags, not into sinks. Toilets are tubs. And some of you might be saying, what are you talking about? Tubs. Yes, facilities has cleaned ramen noodles out of a tub drain. Not the best option. And so I'm giving you a tip. What I do at home, if I have some food waste that I need to dispose of, I double up the grocery bags and I dispose of the food waste. You tie it up, you take it outside, you put it in the dumpster. So it's not difficult to manage it. The other thing too is now that we allow personal blenders, if you have you know, additional food waste from that, make sure you're managing it, make sure it's getting outside. and not sitting in your room bringing in bugs and fruit flies and things. Something else that we really encourage students is to make a bathroom cleaning chore chart so everyone takes equal responsibility. And some students might be like, chore chart, I did that when I was in middle school, but it's actually very helpful. And as I've gone throughout the years for room inspections, seeing chore charts in the bathrooms are managed. Everyone knows their role. You know, 1 week somebody might take, you know, cleaning the shower, somebody takes cleaning the toilet, somebody takes the sink, and somebody takes the floor. You know, if there's 2 or 4 of you, it's easily split between you. But you know, bathroom cleanliness is going to be really important this year, especially with the coronavirus. Cleanliness of spaces in each resident not taking personal responsibility does lead to conflict. I will say, you know, this year we may not be able to do room changes, so trying to help you understand something that really starts conflict between students is the level of cleanliness. Have the conversation. Talk to your roommate if you need help having that conversation. Your resident assistant, your residence director, myself, we will help you work through that mediation. But not having the conversation is not going to work in your favor. So please be open, be honest with the people in your suite and say, hey, Holly, I don't like that when you brush your teeth, you splash, you know, toothpaste all over the bathroom sink. Can you just wipe it up with a Clorox wipe when you're done? If you don't do that, Holly doesn't know that if I don't say that to Holly, she doesn't know that it's impacting me, and she doesn't have the opportunity to make a change. So anyway, that's my example. All right. Oh yeah, and here's some pictures. These are pictures of actual bathroom walls that I took a couple years ago. Thankfully, they've been better since I've been showing these pictures. If you start seeing these marks on your wall, you can wipe them down with a Clorox wipe, or if you have like a spray cleaner and paper towels. And the other thing too is, for those of you, one of the ways to help stop this or to have it not happen as much is when people are done taking their showers or baths for the day, to kind of crack the bathroom doors to let some air flow through there, and not like keep it all into the bathroom where it steams and the water stays on the walls. I can tell you, I walk into the rooms at the end of the semester and I see these walls, and I really can't believe that students really were living in these conditions. So, but they were. All right, next I'm going to kind of switch gears here. Sometimes Campus Police joins me, but I do have their information to share with you. Campus Police are on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They're here all the time. They do serve as a resource to both resident and commuter students. And I know sometimes students are hesitant because they wear a uniform, and some of them are police officers, and they, you know, might have other equipment on them, and it might seem very like they're more patrolling of the campus. And I can tell you, the officers in our campus police department want to see students succeed, and they want to support students. Yes, they do have to address violations. Yes, they do have to write parking tickets, but in the long run, they are here to support you and make sure that you feel safe. They also issue the CAM cards. They provide security to the campus. They do also respond to student concerns, especially with medical emergencies. They will help the ambulance get to the building that they need to go to. They will assist you with a dead car battery. They have a portable jumper, and I can tell you, I've used it myself. They will come, they will help you get on your way. They'll help you with a flat tire. Mr. Lucky likes to show people how to change it, so you might get a little lesson there. And they can be reached at 8888, which is, you can dial the last 4 numbers if you pick up a hall phone. There are still hall phones in the residence halls. It's hanging on the wall. You pick it up, you can dial 8888. or the full number is 919-760-8888. And just as a short tip, all of the phone numbers at Meredith College start with 919-760, and then the last 4 digits are the extension, which will get you to the office that you're looking for. So if you are putting phone numbers in your phone or making a note to have in your room, all of the numbers do start with 919-760. And if you get a phone call from somewhere that says 919-760, please answer it, because we are going to be, I'm using my personal cell phone as I'm working from home. I am blocking my number, but there's other people who are working on campus and may be calling you from a 760 number. And that's how we're getting in touch with you, because we may not see you in person. So if you do see a 760 number, please answer it. All right. And so while on campus, the Meredith College campus is a safe community, and it's important to immediately report anything suspicious to campus police. Chief Al White will always talk about situational awareness. Know your surroundings and pay attention, especially after dark and in early morning. You know, if you see something that doesn't seem right, call campus police. That's why they're here. And I know sometimes students are like, oh, it's not my place to call, or oh, it's probably not that bad, or I'm sure they're supposed to be here. You don't know that, and it's really up to campus police to figure that out. Use the buddy system. You know, walk with a buddy if you go for a late night or early morning walk or run. It's a great way. I know a lot of you will be doing, you know, a lot of online classes. You know, even me working from home, every 60 minutes or so, I'll say, gosh, I need to take a lap. I'll just walk around the house, run downstairs and get something to drink or whatnot. So, you know, you take advantage of being outside. We do have the Meredith Mile. We have the Greenway on campus. So please use that as a way to, you know, make sure you're not sitting at your computer all day. But in the evening and in the morning, please walk with somebody. And then follow the rules. It does sound really simple, but it's important for me to say, you know, if you do follow the guidelines, they're here for your safety and security, and then things go really well. Things really go poorly when students don't follow the rules. So, all right, my next slide is campus emergencies. So we do have an incident response team, and we've been meeting all summer about coronavirus and getting ready for your arrival. We do provide information and direction to the campus community regarding emergencies. Obviously, a week or so ago, we had a hurricane. Sometimes we have snow. We might have other emergencies that we need to bring to your attention. And part of the emergency response is the MC alert. And I think Dean Gleason probably mentioned it this morning in her, or if you're watching the health and safety presentation, she probably mentioned it. Please sign up for MC alert. I know I really appreciate the messages that I get on my home phone or on my cell phone and in email to make sure I know what's going on. So please take time to sign up for that. The campus siren, it's actually outside of Stringfield Residence Hall. Some people say it looks like a birdhouse. It's kind of this tall pole with these big discs on it. That's actually the campus siren. And if you hear the siren go off, it typically means get inside a building. So I know for a fire drill, you go outside. For the campus siren, you go inside. And we'll do alert and campus siren drills during the academic year. And typically the campus is aware of when those are happening. All right. The other thing that campus police always wants me to make sure students understand is if there is a dangerous person or active shooter on campus, I don't want to jinx it, but you know, obviously we've not had this situation, but it is still important for you to know. You may have learned some of these things in high school, but run. If it's best to escape, run, hide, lock the door, use furniture to block the door, and then silence your phone, but still let it receive the MC alert message, and then fight. If you really are confronted by the shooter and you know, you can throw your phone at them, you can throw a piece of furniture and whatnot, but I don't want to definitely scare you all, but I do want you to, you know, campus police does want to make sure that you understand how to react if there is a dangerous person on campus. All right. And then where to learn more, there is on the, I'm not going to pull it up now, but there is on the main Meredith page, there is something called emergency, and you can look at everything there. If you are interested, you know, especially if parents are like, well, what happens if this or what happens if that, you can certainly draw their attention to the emergency planning piece on our Meredith website. And I always get a question, but what policies do I really need to know? You really need to know all of them. And, you know, read through the guide to community living. Don't think, well, somebody told me the right answer, because they may not have. It really is your responsibility. And I know the Residence Life policy video, hopefully has already been shown to you. If not, your RA will be showing it to you. The RAs did, if you haven't seen it yet, the RAs did some TikToks, and I make a little cameo appearance as well. So, but and the other piece too about policies is, last year a student said, well, I didn't know. And it really highlighted for me to tell her, if you don't know, you have two things you can do. One, you can ask, or two, you can go to the Guide to Community Living. And since the Guide to Community Living is on campus or is online, you can even search for a word. If you want to search for guests, or you want to search for parking pass, you can search, which makes it a little easier to navigate. But if you don't know, just ask or look yourself. I would say don't assume that just because a student said something, you might be like, that doesn't sound right. You really need to trust your gut on that. So yes, you do need to know the policies. All right, here's another little piece about campus living, is that wildlife, there is wildlife on campus. I put a picture of a little raccoon because that's where they like our trash on campus. Keep windows closed. If you see an animal in the residence hall or common space, please call campus police. Do not touch or otherwise approach the animal. Tie up your trash bags. I will say this 100 times over, please tie your trash. When students toss their trash into the dumpsters behind the residence halls, there is a person who comes and takes the bags out of the dumpster. It's not like at home where you might have, a big dumpster that is picked up by a truck, or your home trash can that is dumped into a dump truck. The dumpsters are emptied by a person. When students don't tie up their trash, it's nasty. It almost looks like what this raccoon is getting into. It's not really a call that I'm not a fan of, is getting one from facilities that says residents are not wrapping up their feminine products and the groundskeeper is having to clean them up himself. So I'll leave it there. Just tie it up. Trash bags, grocery bags, tie it up, secure it, toss it. And then if you do see wildlife on campus, including snakes, I know I don't like to think that there are snakes on campus, but there are, please report those to campus police or facility services. If there are some snakes, if there's a belief that there's some snakes in a certain area on campus, they will put some snake deterrent out. So, all right. And I do see a couple people are asking questions, and as Holly said, I will answer all the questions and I will answer every one of them before we're done today. All right, next is the fire safety. So I do spend a lot of time on fire safety only because it is so important. And as I mentioned, for those of you who weren't with us when I started, I do have these two videos. I will not show them today because they are very emotional. And because we're not in the same room where you can come, I can see how if people need some processing afterwards, or you can approach me. I am not going to share them. I don't feel like that would be appropriate right now. But there was a fire at NC State in 2005. A student did die. He was in a fraternity house. The smoke detectors that were supposed to be installed were actually in the closet in their packages. So you can just imagine these parents and his brother really, being impacted by this fire and knowing that it could have been prevented. So keeping Meredith College residence halls safe. One thing in both of the videos that I typically show, the parents say, I thought somebody was going to help my student understand fire safety, and that is why we're here today. We want to make sure that you have an understanding of fire safety. So we do the safety training for all incoming students. We do have fire safety training. We had the resident assistants met with a Raleigh Fire Department educator, and he goes over information about fire safety. And then they also do fire extinguisher safety, and they actually put out fires. They do, our fire extinguisher trainer does have fire that they put out with a fire extinguisher, so they are very capable of using them. In the rooms, combustible items are not permitted. That list is in, again, the Guide to Community Living, and only approved electrical equipment is required, things with surge protected cords. We have seen on some products, an extension cord might say surge protected. I do want to reiterate, it does have to have an on-off switch. Some other fire safety precautions that we have that you may not even notice or realize are fire safety precautions. There's an automatic door closure on your residence hall room. I know students like to have their doors open, and it does create a sense of community. So we do allow the rubber door stoppers, the door stops, and we hope that maybe you brought one. If not, you can get one. In the parlors and in the kitchens, there are metal trash cans with lids. The lid, having a metal trash can with a lid that closes, is actually fire safety precaution. There are fire extinguishers on every floor. There should be 2 or 3. And as you're traveling through your residence hall, I really encourage you to find the one that is closest to your room. One thing too is to use the appropriate size bulb for your product. If you have a small desk lamp that takes a 40-watt light bulb, do not put a 75-watt light bulb in it, because that is considered a hazard. And then again, don't keep prohibited items in your room, such as hoverboards. We do not allow hoverboards in the residence halls because of all the safety hazards that they had been creating. So the other thing too is know your exits. Be aware of 2 ways out of your hall, and don't forget about the parlor. If you are not able to get to one of the stairwells, if you go to the parlor, you can stand on the balcony and you can alert somebody that you need help. And then also keep a pathway clear to your door. I've walked into rooms where you can barely open the door. It's not good. It's a safety hazard. Also, facilities needs to come fix something in your room. They can't get in your room. They can't fix it, and it's going to take longer for you to get the support that you need. So really, I can't impress upon y'all enough. I'm not saying it has to be crystal clean, but just make sure you have a clear floor, make sure that your perishable trash is outside, etc. All right. Another thing I talk about is the Heilman fire. It was in January 2001. It was my first year at Meredith. We have not had a fire in the residence hall since. I like to think it's partly because of this presentation I do, and then also all the efforts that you all help with. There was a resident at the time. Residents were still allowed to smoke in their rooms, which sounds really strange to say. She was up at 3 o'clock in the morning. She put her cigarette butt in the laundry room trash can, and it lit on fire. So I'll leave it at that. Smoking is not permitted in the residence halls, on the parlor balconies, or the breezeways. And I think, yeah, so here's the smoking policy. This is in the student handbook. I do encourage you to read it. It didn't change. I thought it might change a little bit, only because you now have to be 21 to purchase tobacco products. I did look this morning. This is still the current campus policy. So if you are 21 and older, you can smoke in these designated areas. If you are not 21 and older, obviously don't buy tobacco. That was easy enough. Don't buy it. Next one is, oh yes, I like to talk about how one fire incident could and what it could do. It could damage everything for you. And this year, instead of 150 people in a building, there's around 100. We did de-densify a little bit, but I saw the TVs and the futons and the fluffy stuff and all the goodies that parents and students brought to move in over this last week. And to think that one fire could really destroy the room, the suite, a floor, or entire residence hall. And it could also injure or permanently scar someone. And I like this website down here, IGotToKnow.org. And one of the presentations, the gentleman says, you didn't mean to kill someone when you lit that match. And I think for me, just giving you that one quote will help you understand that lighting a match for incense, for a candle, for a cigarette inside a residence hall could really impact things in a very rapidly in a very negative way. So don't do it. The other fire is the Chapel Hill fire. Some of your parents, if you're from North Carolina, some of your parents may be familiar with this. It was on graduation day. It was on Mother's Day. I was actually working at ECU at the time, and it just rocked our world in higher education. And especially since, here's a fire at NC State and one at Chapel Hill within a couple of years of each other. It has been impactful and helps me understand how important it is to give you fire safety information. And so this is it was a fraternity house, but again, it was a tragedy. The people died from smoke inhalation. I think about these videos and I think, I don't know who wants to call your parent or your guardian to say that there's been a fire and that you may not have survived. So I really want you to think about that. Like, how would somebody from the college make that call to your parent and understand how important, again, fire safety is. So it is important for you to not only know how to be safe, but know that Mayor's College faculty and staff who are part of the campus want you to be safe as well. That includes me, all the Residence Life staff, and everyone in the Dean of Students and in college programs, people across campus. We want you to be safe. And then I did want to add just a little bit about COVID-19 has impacted every area of our lives. And I have a spelling error. We all must take responsibility for our own and each other's health. I was talking to one of your parents on the phone the other day, and I said, everything I do at home and everything I do off campus impacts my job on campus. So I have taken that responsibility to make sure that I'm as safe as I can be in all areas of my life, because whatever I do can impact others. And I take that very seriously. And I hope you will join me in understanding that and kind of providing guidance to your friends. If your friends are walking out of their rooms without their face covering, just gentle reminders. It's going to just take a lot of, getting used to this. But I think we will all be successful if we hold each other accountable. And then have fun and be safe, but just do it 6 feet apart. Stay safe and healthy. And I did want to say best of luck as you begin your college career. That is the end of my presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to take all the questions that you have.
Okay, Heidi, so the first question that we had actually showed up in the chat, and it was if diffusers are allowed.
So if whoever asked that question, if you can be more specific, I will tell you the Reed, I think they're called Reed diffusers. They have a bottle with I think like fragrant water or oil in them, and there's reeds that come out of those. Yes, those are allowed. If that doesn't answer the question, if you will clarify, that would be helpful.
Heidi, sometimes oil diffusers, you can plug them in, so you'll just put in some water and some scented oil, and then it'll be kind of like a vapor that will come up. So that could be the kind of diffuser that she means also.
Okay, I would say if it's electric, it's probably best to not have that, but we would allow anything that's not electric. Non-electric.
So yeah, the one question was, it's operated with water similar to a humidifier.
Yeah, I would say if it's electric, that it's something we would probably not want to have on campus.
Okay. Are grounded electric taps allowed?
Grounded electric tap. I am not familiar with what that is.
Okay. Maybe we can have that attendee clarify what an electric tap is for us, because
yeah,
I'm not sure either.
I'll tell you something this summer. A couple students actually sent me links to pictures of stuff.
Okay.
So that is definitely something you can do as well. And
Okay.
again, the email is reslife@meredith. So.
Okay. For the folks that are asking about how to sign up for MC Alert, I did put a link in the chat box of the webpage of where you can do that. But basically for students, you just log into My Meredith, you go down to your self-service area, and there should be a link in there on how to sign up, and you can do it through text or email. I get text and emails for when I get alerts, so it's really whatever your preference. But all you have to do is log into My Meredith and go into the self-service area on your page, and MC Alert will be up there. So electric taps plug into an outlet and splits into like 4 outlets instead of 1.
It would be allowed if there was an on-off switch. So anything related to electrical, that I think that'll be, I wish I had something around here. Anything related to electrical extension. So that means, you know, I have a little, it's not electrical, it's a, you know, it's a USB, but if you're plugging this into the wall and you have an extension for plugins here, this would have to have an on-off switch. So anything that you're plugging in to extend the electrical has to have an on-off switch. So I hope that my little demonstration helped.
I just tried taking out my little outlet plug thing in my wall that I could show people that you could say yay or nay, but I can't get it out of the wall. So sorry,
well,
everybody.
And again, I think the
but
biggest...
just send pictures to Heidi and she can tell you yay or nay.
Well, and again, if it has an on-off switch, if it can turn itself off, if it's overloaded, that would be allowed. So, you know, if this were where I had, you know, the plugs to plug in my appliances and this was going in the wall, there's no on-off switch, so this would not be allowed.
Residence hall checks are done. They're a question asking from Ainsley how often they are done. Twice a year, correct?
Yeah, so we do them once in the fall and once in the spring. And again, I'll be honest, I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do those. Before we do them the first time in the fall, we typically we'll say these are coming. We won't tell you when because it doesn't matter. You don't have to be in your room. But typically, you know, we'll send out and just say, we're preparing to do them and these are the items that are not permitted.
Madeline asked, do we have to break down boxes before we put them in the dumpster?
Yes. The dumpsters are not, I mean, there's 100 people sharing 1 or 2 small dumpsters. You can also recycle cardboard, and there's some places on campus. Holly, I don't know if you can look up quickly. It's probably under facilities, or if you want to just type in recycling on campus. There are places that you can recycle cardboard. Actually, I know one's behind the student center. I don't know if there's one on the other side of campus, but yes, please break down boxes.
Are fragrance plugins allowed?
So if you're referring to something, again, they're called wallflowers from Bed Bath & Beyond.
Or the Glade plugins.
Or the Glade plugin, we would allow those, yes.
Okay, and then I think, let's see here. If we currently have something that isn't allowed, what should we do with them?
If you have something that's not currently allowed, that's not allowed, I would say put it in a bag and put it in your closet and take it home when you're able to, or don't use it. That's the biggest thing, is make sure it's just not visible. Obviously, if it's visible, it's easy to assume that you're using it. So if it's not allowed, you know, try to tuck it away and not use it.
If a diffuser is set to turn off automatically when the water runs low, is it allowed?
I would say something like that would not, no. Okay. And I'm glad thank you all for bringing this up. You know, honestly, we cannot keep up with products. We cannot, every year, you know, I mean, I'm not even that familiar with these diffusers. You are bringing it to my attention. I will look into them, but knowing that there's a product that is supposed to turn itself off if the water runs low makes me nervous, only because there's an opportunity that it doesn't turn itself off. So, but thank you for I'm not familiar with them, and I will make sure to look into them.
Heidi, I have two oil diffusers in my home, so I can take a picture of them and send them to you so you can
Okay.
see what they look like. They just, I think a lot of people in general are, more in tune with essential oils and wanting to
Right.
burn essential oils lately. So I think that's why a lot of folks have gotten
Oh,
diffusers. So that's probably why it could be one of the reasons why we have students asking about them, that it's just another kind of increased appliance that people are using instead of burning candles or things like that, because the scents are very therapeutic. So,
yeah. And
but
yeah, perfect.
mhm.
Thank you for educating me on that.
No,
So
no
yeah, we'll
problem.
definitely look to see your pictures.
If there are any other questions, you can enter them now. And if you don't have any other questions, or if you think of a question later, you can email Heidi directly at reslife@meredith.edu. But we thank you so much for your time today. And there is a short reflection form for this in MC Connect. So it'll be in the commuter orientation / safety training experience. So once you go into MC Connect, you'll find that experience at the very bottom of the first year orientation page. You'll click experience, and then that page will come up, and then you can click the apply to earn button in the right hand corner. I did create a MC Connect tutorial video that is up on the Meredith orientation YouTube page. So if you are having any issues navigating the site, you can go there to view that, and that should help out. But I think that is it. So thank you so much.
Thank you all so much too. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Bye, Heidi.
Bye.